Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Cape Crusader Cody, and we are keeping it geekly with our new friend Paul Cornell. We're here to break down the completed Saucer Country and everything in between. Paul, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fine. How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Having a fantastic morning. It is New Comic Book Day, and I am excited to break down this final chapter. But before we do that, give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are and how you got into creating comics.
I'm a writer of television, books, and comics. I got into creating comics through Doctor Who because I pestered the editor of Doctor Who magazine until he let me write a comic. And then there was a big gap between writing British comics and American comics. Mark Millar saw my Doctor Who episode on TV and emailed me and said, would you like to write for Marvel? So it's a career ladder that any young creator out there can easily copy.
So you just got to start by pestering one of the editors for Doctor Who.
Absolutely. And then you've got to get Mark Millar to ask you to write for Marvel. It's easy as that.
So, I mean, how was that experience for you, like diving into such a huge IP as Doctor Who and then transitioning to Marvel? That is such a remarkable journey.
Well, I've always been a Doctor Who fan, and so I kind of had been preparing through, Doctor Who comics and audio plays and books for the gig of writing it on television, and that ladder existed and probably still does exist within Doctor Who. And similarly with Marvel, I have a long romantic relationship with Marvel comics that stretches back to my childhood, and writing for Marvel was a dream come true. And it's still, they are still the comic company of my heart, to be absolutely honest. And when the Man-Thing pops up in Werewolf by Night, I'm the one going, Oh
yes, let's go.
Yeah.
That was such an awesome film too. What was your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's lovely. I mean, anything that makes use of black and white, and really good Elsa. I wanted Manny to be, or Ted, as we should call him, to be less brainy, to be more just empathy and not actually having conversations, albeit just responding to conversations. But there's clearly a brain in there. But how lovely just to have a show with Werewolf by Night and the Man-Thing in it. This would be completely incomprehensible to my Bronze Age self.
Yeah. And I really liked how they made use of the black and white so they can get away with the more bloodier aspects of it. And then the finer details like the cigarette burns in the screen. It was just chef kiss.
Oh, yes.
So give us a little bit about Saucer Country. This came out 2012, if I'm not mistaken, on Vertigo Comics.
Yep, started at Vertigo, 14 issues there, 6 issues under the title Saucer State at IDW, ended on a cliffhanger, and we've finally been able, thanks to the crowdfunding platform Zoop, to complete the story. 1 volume with everything and an ending. And it's by me and the artist Ryan Kelly, who is a genius. His acting is beyond compare, and his weird aliens are amazing. And it's about presidential candidate Arcadia Alvarado, who's the governor of New Mexico, and she is about to declare that she's running for president and gets abducted by aliens that night. And so it's kind of what if the guys from the West Wing had to do the X-Files. And she's working out what happened to her, and she recruits a bunch of weirdos to help. And one of the weirdos is Professor Kidd, who keeps being visited by the figures from the Pioneer 10 space probe plaque. The naked man and woman with the man with his hand in the air keep on popping up to talk to him. And it's that kind of book. And so pleased to finish it. I worked out, you see, that basically I could finish it in 20 pages. If I just took out all the bells and whistles and the new plots I was going to introduce in the last 5 issues, then we could land it. And so it's been an absolute joy seeing these characters again in art from Ryan Kelly. It's a mixture of delight and relief. And we're only 24 hours in, and we've got $13,000 out of 20,000.
Yeah. Wow. It's such a remarkable day. And I had the opportunity. I read the first issue, and this was. I mean, I can't wait to see what the cliffhanger looks like, because the first issue just starts off. She wakes up not knowing what happened with her ex-husband next to her. He's bloodied. They're coming up. They're like, we haven't heard from you in days. What happened? And I'm like, oh, this is good. Started
in the middle, and yeah, it's about UFO mythology, which is something I adore. We do a deep dive into, again, this is something I've known from my youth, the fashions and facets of this multicolored mythology that is as American as jazz, and you export it to the rest of the world. And so thank you for the Greys. That was a scary decade or so. And but they've gone away now, and we've got lizard people instead. But I think maybe the Greys got scared away because we made inflatable things of them and turned them into...
they're like, we don't look like that, come on.
Yeah. And we turned them into anally probing cartoon characters.
They're like, do our heads look really that big? Like, I also love like how you tie in like such a mysterious like atmosphere in it. At one point, she's taking a shower and she sees two of them, like, and then like they're not there, and it's like, okay, all right, like they're not done with her.
Yeah, they're not done with her. And the matter of whether or not it's true is complicated. And we were way ahead of the curve. A guest star in Saucer State is Vladimir Putin. And the matter of Russian interference in elections is something we got into in 2012.
Yeah.
And it's right at the heart of the comic. And it's... I'm delighted that we made some good guesses. And so it's a comic that's both awash in weird aliens of all descriptions, usually weird aliens that somebody in the real world has said they've met. And in fact, in all cases, one of our issues is just a field guide to flying saucers, where we do a quick history of the whole thing, if anybody's not. And with a gang of political wonks who are a bunch of idiots who are trying to work this all out. My favourite is Republican speechwriter Chloe, who is deeply cynical about all this and says only poor people are abducted by aliens. And
shoo. Dang. This was such a roller coaster of a ride from start to finish with issue 1, and it's like it's almost blurring the lines between science fiction and fiction at this point, right? Because the government just came out and said like there's something out there, right? Like,
well, when I saw that gun camera footage of UAVs. I've read a lengthy report because I'm not a skeptic and I'm not a believer. I'm a Fortean. I'm interested, and I don't think many people are lying. I think many people are mistaken.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking, well, I think those gun cameras are locking onto something. And I'm wondering what we're trying to convince the Chinese of, because one of the central theses of Saucer Country is that the UFO mythology has been used by the US intelligence community to do all sorts of things over time. When it first started, it was, encouraged in order to make sure that when the American public looked up, they didn't see a U-2, but a UFO. And I think they've made use of it in multifarious ways across the decades, and that's
especially stealth bombers too. Like the technology is like getting more and more advanced to where they can, like, I wouldn't say turn invisible, but like find means of cloaking themselves.
Well, a friend of mine whose word I trust, when he was a child, saw a black triangle stop in midair above his housing estate in Wales, and I wouldn't put it past the abilities of the USAF 20 years ago to be able to stop in midair. I think there's tech we don't know about, and there's always some cutting-edge aircraft that we're going to learn about in 20 years' time, and we haven't learnt about a new one for a very long time. So
they keep it quiet. They keep it quiet for some time until something like gets leaked or until they're forced to make a statement, it seems like.
Or we might just be at that hinge point where everything that an aircraft needs to do is being done. But no, I think that I don't believe in the thesis of aliens visiting Earth, except in one or two tiny cases. The one of the very earliest abductions of Barney and Betty Hill I find fascinating. I sometimes think that perhaps that is the only time human beings have met aliens, because those two were so sincere and they made it up of whole cloth. They don't seem to have been influenced by anything. And but nevertheless, I remain interested, deeply interested, and Saucer Country is about my interest.
So speaking of that interest, though, this came out 2012. It's been almost 10 years to the date, and you are finally coming out with the final chapter. How does that feel for you? This has to be such an intense moment for you.
Well, let's assume we get there. Let's not count our chickens. I mean, I reckon in the next 29 days of the campaign, it'll just get exponentially slower and slower until I'm looking for 10 cents in the last hour. I think that's where it's going to go. But no, I'm delighted and relieved, and the idea that I'm going to be able to cross this off as a story I've finished. There is only one other story I haven't finished in my life, and it's so important to finish my stories.
Yeah, and this is 440 pages all together collected.
It's a lot of comics.
Outstanding. Yeah, outstanding. Shoo. Let's go ahead and take this moment. Let's pull up the Zoop campaign and kind of go through some of these tiers and see what we're looking at. So the completed Saucer Country by Paul Cornell and Ryan Kelly, currently at $13,160 of a $20,000 goal in the first day. Holy crap, that is remarkable, man. You got 29 days left to go with 195 supporters. How do you feel right now?
Oh, nice to see that. That's gone up a little since the last I saw it. What we got down there is the main product there is the $60. That's your huge softcover book, and we've got versions with signed by me with a personalized note. I'm currently going to be personalizing 34 of them, and you can get it digitally. For loyal readers who've read every issue, we thought it's only fair to offer just the ending separately as well. So that's what we call Saucer Country Finale. If you just want to know how the story ends, you can just buy the last bit as a comic or as a digital comic. And that looks at the moment to be a comic that will have a print run of 22 copies.
Yeah,
so it might be worth buying one of those just to have one of 22 copies. That's all I'm saying.
So is this going to be the only place where this finale comic comes out?
There'll be a certain amount of overprint, and I'll probably keep some to sell at conventions, etc. I know Chris Ryle wants to sell some as well. He's our editor emeritus who's supported this project throughout, and it began with Karen Berger at Vertigo when she was still there. Incredible. But Chris has been a great supporter since IDW. And I've got 2 pieces of original art for sale, one of which has been claimed. A lovely signed Ryan Kelly original pencil pages back from when there were original pencil pages for comics. So we're offering those. You can, if you're a retailer, you can have a bundle of signed copies. And if you just want to tip us, you can give us some money, or you can put your name in the back of the book.
I love this. When I was going through this campaign, I seen this little icon right here. I loved it so much. I was like, man, that is so perfect.
This is all Zoop. Zoop are amazing. I got to say, they have been so supportive, and they've added so much creativity. They did that. You can, you want to pay us $500, Ryan Kelly will draw you in the finale. Only one person wants to have an evening with me on Zoom for $50, so that's going to be a nice
missing out.
Nice quiet one-to-one. And nobody currently wants to hear me and Chris Roll rant about UFOs to each other, but we may get there. And if you scroll on down, here's here's exactly what you get.
Yeah, so we can watch this. You won't be able to hear the audio on your end, but we'll hear it loud and clear on ours, just to give you the heads up.
There's a lovely soundtrack going on there. From the Warped Minds, I ask you.
Who wrote this?
Yeah, we did actually get a Hugo Award nomination. We got that's the nomination of the World Science Fiction Convention. So that was nice. because there's the Pioneer 10 couple talking to Professor Kidd.
These interiors are gorgeous. Does your artist do everything traditionally, or is digital?
He did everything traditionally in the original run, but he's on to... did everything traditionally in the original run, but now he's on to digital. Yeah, there's these are scenes from the imagination of one of our unreliable witnesses, the Men in Black. We have a storyline about the Men in Black and their origins as possibly as a USAF hazing ritual, and Arcadia amongst her people. The Philip K. Dick is also a guest star in the latter issues, as well as Vladimir Putin. That was Orthon. That's Orthon from Venus, who met the original contactee George Adamski in the desert in his classic flying saucer. That's where that flying saucer shape comes from. The Invaders TV show picked it up immediately afterwards.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that. So it seems like there's just so many Easter eggs in this as well.
Yeah. George Adamski seems to have taken the lid off a water cooler and thrown it in the air and photographed it. It's odd that Orthon should pick exactly a saucer like that. Those below, that's the comics involved. The prologue, 14 issues of Saucer Country, 6 issues of Saucer State, the brand new finale, all in the one cover. And
here's some of the interiors as well.
So good. He's got such a feeling for human drama and for cosmic weirdness, and that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a thing called screen memories, where abductees claim that they initially have bizarre memories of being surrounded by rabbits rather than aliens. So we've got lots of scary rabbits in a couple of issues.
I love this page right here. This is so trippy looking with all the faces of the aliens right here, and then the mirror and then the planets.
Yeah.
Aliens are just everywhere.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling at certain stages during the book. And that's from our later issues, where we get into, at the bottom, that's where we get into our heroes meeting, in inverted commas, Orthon from Venus, and going into the Hollywood history of UFOs, how Close Encounters and various... the activities of various science fiction writers in the 1970s seem to have fed directly into UFO mythology.
This would be so horrifying to wake up out of a deep slumber and just be surrounded, in a room full of them.
It's the sleep paralysis experience.
Yeah.
Some friends of mine have sleep paralysis, and one of the features of that experience is that sufferers find themselves paralyzed, feel that they're awake, and feel presences in the room around them. And none of my friends think they're being abducted by aliens, but they feel that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of this mythology is right at the heart of the human experience. That at the bottom, the black and white so far, we're having it coloured as we speak by our wonderful colourist Pippa Boland. That is one of our new pages. That's
gorgeous.
That's the opening page of the finale, where a lot of our characters, the Silver Space Lady, the Greys, Orthon, and fairies, because there's fairy lore in here as well, are all gathered, waiting for one of our characters to wake.
So how would you say your portrayal of aliens are within this comic? I mean, because in media, aliens are hit and miss, but what would you say your portrayal comes off of in this?
Elusive, mythological. It's very kind of a lot of my peers to dive in and say nice things. And we've got some amazing stretch goals. We're going to include the TV pitch documents from when we pitched it as a TV show back in 2018. I'm going to write a new short story, and I'm going to write some fan fiction and give it away, of course, because we're not going to make a profit off of this bit. With characters from Saucer Country meeting some of my characters from Doctor Who.
Oh, that's going to be so cool. I was about to say, man, one of these guys have to have a screwdriver or something.
Well, we don't want to infringe on the Doctor Who license, so clearly that's,
All right, and then that's the Zoop campaign in its entirety. Yep. This is such a gorgeous campaign. We're going to be dropping these link in the comments below, guys. It's New Comic Book Day, so if you're unable to back, simply sharing this on Facebook, Twitter, word of mouth is 100% free, and it is essential. You know, it gets the book out there farther and farther, so please feel free to share this away. Paul, you are already killing it. But for anyone out there who is maybe on the fence about backing this campaign, what would you like to say to them directly to kind of help push them over that fence?
Well, I think you get a gorgeous, huge collection that is one huge, complete story. And it's an adventure into our world right now, and you'll learn lots and lots about flying saucers along the way, and see some very, very weird experiences. And it's such a heartfelt project for me. It's something I've really, really feel, and getting Arcadia to her conclusion is important for me. And so thank you very much, and please spread the word. Even if you don't support us, plonk it out there, see if other people do. And I could not thank you enough.
No, absolutely. This has been such an awesome sit down. Before we end things completely, Paul, I always love asking my guests one thing in particular. And that is a little bit of advice for anyone who might be new to the industry. So for anyone who's out there watching, getting started for the first time, what advice would you have for them for adding a little bit of life to their series, taking a book from being like one issue to, a series of like maybe 10, maybe 20 issues, what's that little bit of juice to help them get the most out of their writing?
Oh, I think it's always plot. Plot first. Just put down a huge amount of plot. Put down lots and lots of plot nobody will ever see. And then you'll find yourself improvising on top of it. But you will know you've got your foundation. And there is one line I always tell people about the business of writing in general. And that is, when you're lucky enough to get a critique from somebody who knows what they're talking about, like if you've taken your script or your portfolio to an editor at a con, you listen and you take it in and you change. And it's the hardest thing. Boxers don't learn to be professional boxers by avoiding being punched on the nose. You're going to be punched on the nose. And the way to end that experience, to make sure that that editor won't listen and won't pay attention to your career in future, is if you start to go, oh, no, well, you see, what I was thinking was, no, don't fight it, listen. Toughest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me, even like when I'm doing like comic reviews, it's hard for me to listen to the editor notes. Like I'm like, oh God, is it really that bad? Like
I make it a point when I get a big lot of notes, even before I've read them, I will email the editor back going, oh yes, thanks for that, great notes. Because then I can have a day or so feeling grumpy about it. And
put the picture on a pillow, just
yeah. But I tell you what, when you get back to them, having had a day feeling grumpy, you'll go, oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for the advice and swinging by and breaking down the completed Saucer Country. This has been such an awesome podcast, and we appreciate it so much, man. I can't wait to see this get funded by day 2. You've already just hit it right out the gates flying.
No pressure. Thank you so much.
Everyone watching, I hope you have a fantastic New Comic Book Day. Most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.